Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Comics Today show. This is a show that we do every single Wednesday to celebrate New Comic Book Day. And everybody knows, if you are a comic fan, that today is the best day of the week. It is Hump Day, and it is also New Comic Book Day. This is a show we've been doing, I think, for roughly 14 weeks or so. And we come on here live to spend some time with the comic book soldiers, and we talk about some news and happenings in the world of comics. And typically during this show, I also have a guest or two that will join me. And tonight is like every other show in that we are going to have a guest. Fingers crossed that my guest shows up. I have not had an opportunity to touch base with him all day, but I remain hopeful that he is going to show up for the show because we do have some cool things that we are going to talk about. So I definitely want to encourage all of you to stay tuned for that because it is New Comic Book Day. The way that we are going to do shout outs for the soldiers that are in the live chat right now is that we are going to ask them to post up in the live chat if they picked up some books, which books they picked up, and if they read some of those books, to let us know which books to put on the top of our stack. So I will be going to the chat here in a hot moment to see what it is that you guys may have picked up. And I'll be honest with you, I did not go to the LCS today. I had a very small window in which to actually make that magic happen, and I did not make that magic happen. I showed up to pick up my daughter at the appropriate time. I got there, and she was still having lunch, so that window closed up on me just a little bit. So I ran to the post office to get some things, and I may actually show you guys what I actually picked up at the post office right here. And then I went back to go get her, and then I was like, we're just going to go back home because I had some actual work to do. So we did not get to the LCS today, but I will endeavor to make it there tomorrow. So I'm definitely going to be looking to see what it is that you guys are throwing up in the comment section, letting me know what it is that I may want to check out. Scrolling through some of the comments, it looks like a couple of people are welcoming other people, which is great. Chris Bigger did not get to the LCS this week. So gladly, I am not alone in that. Probably want to still go, but just did not get there. Scrolling through the comments just got away from me. DB is in the house. How you doing? He said no LCS, but got my got my comics to go box today. That is what's up. Thank you, brother, for supporting the channel. Those gorgeous comics to go boxes are just sitting back there looking oh so good. So shout out to you, brother, for supporting the channel. I absolutely appreciate you. My man, Doug, how you doing, brother? Dropped a really awesome blog post earlier today on ReggieCollects.com. So check that out. He says, just got back issues today. Nothing wrong with that. Did anybody go to the shop? Didn't go to the shop today, but tomorrow I'm picking up Daredevil 26 and I believe X-Men 17. Stay tuned. We are going to be talking about, I think, X-Men 16 a little bit later in the show. Not a big week, but a high quality one for sure, says Hillbilly Comics. It's good to see you, brother. Scrolling down through some of the names here. Today I got Something is Killing the Children, Conan the Barbarian cover A, and the 1 in 25 variant. I'll be honest with you, nothing about the back half of that statement surprises me, my friend. One of the biggest Conan fans around right there, Matt Woods. If you guys did not see him spend time with me maybe 2 weeks ago on the Comics Today show, I definitely want to encourage you to check that out. He was dropping some knowledge about Conan. So I did not realize just how many Conan fans there were out there until I had Matt Woods on the show. And then all of the comments that flowed here thereafter about Conan being the ultimate alpha male, the bigger brother to the Punisher. I think a couple of people kind of phrased it. So Something is Killing the Children, definitely a dope read. I had somebody reach out to me earlier today and was like, hey, if I bought this book, issue number 1 for a certain price, would I be catching a brick? And I was like, I don't think that you would be catching a brick because Something that is Killing the Children is actually a pretty good read that I believe has some long-term potential, especially with the things that Boom Studios is working on right now. DC Dude says he picked up, got a lot of Future State, and Aquaman was his absolute favorite. That's what's up. I have not read I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that I've read an Aquaman comic book since maybe 93, maybe 93. But the DC Future State, there is so much good stuff. I've read a lot of the DC Future State, and there is some really good writing that is actually going on. There is really, really good writing. So my man Chuck is in here. It's good to see you, brother. Super chat just popped in. Who did that from? Comic Book Emporium. He says, no LCS for me last month. New books, at least. Hustling and bustling for that. Hustling and bustling for that giant size X-Men #1 at high grade. That is a worthy book to get. It out of the 2 X-Men #1s, giant size X-Men is my favorite. It is, in my opinion, much better than X-Men #1. Good luck getting that book. It is a vainglorious book. So good luck to you. Hopefully you don't need that $5 to get that book, because that $5 is now mine. Technically that $3 kind of sort of is mine, because YouTube takes portion. No, seriously. Thank you for the super chat, brother. I do appreciate it. So scrolling through some of the names, I think I missed some things. Harvey Abel says, Reggie, getting that Chris Claremont thing from Marvel made, is that's a question? The answer, no, I am not. No, there's a lot of Chris Claremont stuff that's going on right now, and I honestly have not picked up any of it. Some people have spoken very highly of it, like that faux covered. I don't think that that's what that is, but there was like a faux covered or faux leather bound book that he came out with a couple of months ago. I did not pick that up. I haven't picked up really any of the newer Chris Claremont stuff, to be honest with you. Scrolling through Comic Ventures, haven't been to the LCS in a while. Yikes. Want to get the new Future State. I'm going to tell you, man, get the Future State books. Get the Future State books. There were a lot of people that were poo-pooing what DC was doing with Future State. There was a lot of people that were on the fence about it. There were people that were like, yeah, I think it's going to be good. I, as not a person that reads a lot of DC, I actually enjoyed the Future State stuff, whether it be some of the Superman stuff was okay, but the next Batman I felt was good. The Justice League was good. The Wonder Woman was good. I mean, there was a lot of really good. Swamp Thing? I think it's Swamp Thing. That was good. I enjoyed that. I mean, just really good stuff. So treat yourself. James Tomlinson, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Scrolling down through the comments here, Juggernaut's in the house. You got Stillwater, issue #5, Department of Truth #5, King in Black #3, and Daredevil 26. That is a very, very nice run of books right there. Well done. 2021, dropping all kinds of just magical stuff on the Instagrams. If you guys are not following him, check him out. He will make you jealous. Jelly with all the good stuff that he posts up. He said, other than the usual suspects, picked up a few new indie runs. Crimson Flower, I've never heard of that. Cutting Edge, never. I don't even know what you're talking about. Eighth Immortal, I don't even know what you're talking about, my friend. But that is part of the reason why we do this show, is to throw up there, not to throw up, but to put up there the things that people are picking up. And sometimes we make people aware of things that they otherwise would not have been aware of. So there you go right there. I did an interview with somebody yesterday for the Go Collect podcast, and we talked about Lee Bermejo. We talked about Lee Bermejo and the work that he was doing on Batman, specifically Batman Damned, and also on Detective Comics with these B cover variants and his neo pulp style. And I was like, man, I did a little research before the interview, and I was like, Lee Bermejo is official. He is official. Then I see he has this super dope Marvel issue #6 that is actually coming out featuring Silver Surfer. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't even have an image of it, because this is all like impromptu stuff that I'm talking about. Lee Bermejo did this super dope Marvel issue #6 Silver Surfer that is just fantastic. But as I did my research, every place sold out. Found a place that had it. $69. Too much. Found another place. $95. Too much. Found another place. $100. I said, no, I will not. I will not catch that brick. But if you guys were lucky enough to get that Marvel 6 Lee Bermejo cover, man, that Man, that is a gorgeous book. That is a gorgeous book. Who is that? Someone said Liber Mayho, so good. Scrolling through is this the opening subject, man? Is it an open subject night? No, we do have some things that we are going to get to. I am kind of ad-libbing in the first part of this thing, so can't complain if you don't read it there. In all transparency, what I was just commenting on those people that were talking about DC Future State, the way that I framed that up of people against, in the middle, people pro, that was all before anything had even come out. So just transparency there. But again, if you do decide to read it, if you were on the fence, I am telling you, it is a good read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And Dave, bro, I would definitely encourage you to stay tuned for the podcast. I think you would enjoy the podcast because we spent some time talking about what is neo pulp art, why Liber Mayho's style is so fitting for what is happening with Detective Comics. My guest did a really fantastic job of fleshing this thing out. I thoroughly enjoyed them, and I think you guys will enjoy this podcast when it drops in a week or two. Stay tuned on Instagram because it'll definitely be something that I post up when this thing goes live because I think it's dope. First appearance of Future State characters, Blue Ocean. I think so. There was a reason why I picked up a couple of copies of Justice League. A lot of first appearances in there. There is some magic that I think could be made from some of these characters. What was it? Yara Flores, the new Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl, whatever they're calling her. I picked up her cameo appearance in Death Metal 7. And then I also picked up a couple of copies of her first issue of her own book. I think they're coming out with a cartoon or a TV show for her. So I think that there may be some Blue Ocean opportunities here. And I will say that to the extent that you were able to get those books for cover price and a fair price, right? Like paying crazy amounts of money for brand new books that literally just came out. I don't know about that, but in my head, I feel like DC is introducing some really different, unique, however you want to characterize it, characters that are not going to disappear tomorrow. I think that those characters will continue, and those people that are saying that DC is no longer going to be printing books in January are honestly just doing a bunch of clickbait stuff. I think that DC is going to be here, and DC is going to be releasing books long into the future. So I think that there is some opportunity with some of these characters. So I am behind on comments, so let me scroll myself down and get back on track. Wasn't she in an annual 4 before Future State Wonder Woman? I don't know, Brandon. I thought her cameo appearance was in, I think it was Death Metal issue number 7, I want to say. I think that was it. And then her cover in full was, I think, in her own issue. But I'm going to defer to the DC folks that happen to be in the room that may be a little bit closer to some of that stuff than because I, as a marketing guy, may just make some stuff up. So I'm going to defer. Let me see. No. Here's the thing, Chris Bigger. First of all, no. So what's his name? Nick Spencer. Nick Spencer is ending his run, I do believe, on ASM. Donnie Cates is ending his run on Venom. You guys do the math. 1 + 1 equals Donnie Cates on ASM. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned. It's going to be big. Teen Titans #1 first cameo. Red Ocean Spec, says James. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Again, just kind of ad-libbing, having a little bit of fun because it's not often that we get to mix things up a little bit with you guys as much. Scrolling through some of the comments here, making sure Batman Forever. If you guys haven't seen the video that I dropped earlier today, I definitely want to encourage you guys to go ahead and check that out because it was about the Punisher. And I think it was a well-edited video. I thought it was entertaining as well. Did a little bit of research on it. Matt Wood says, I had to pick up a bunch of the Future State books. Cover price was pretty. Yeah, man. Again, I feel like it's a fresh start. It is an opportunity to get on board, I think, with some pretty interesting characters. And I'm enjoying the stories that are being told. I am really enjoying the stories that are being told in DC Future State. And I would like for some of these characters to move into the future. So Reggie just said the words to make me smile. Kate. Hey, this guy, I told you, I interviewed a guy yesterday and he said to me, he said, so my dream is Donny Cates and Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman on Fantastic Four with Lee Bermejo doing the B covers. And I said, look, I'm sorry, I got to break the news to you. That's not going to happen. What's about to happen is that those two yahoos are about to come onto ASM. And I was like, when we're done with them, maybe we'll send them over and hook up the FF just a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see how it actually plays out. So wait, is the Venom run over or is it just Donny Cates? No. So I think that the Venom title is going to continue. I don't know who wants to step into those shoes once Donny walks away from that. I don't know who wants to catch that brick, right? I don't know who wants to come in and do something now magical with the character. He made magic happen with Venom and Eddie Brock, and so I think basically that the title's probably going to continue. My guess is that they're going to find another creative team that's going to work on it. This is all assumption on my part. If you guys know better than I, please correct me. But they're wrapping up with Venom 200. They're walking away. They're dropping the mic and they're going to walk right over to ASM and pick up what's going on with ASM, and they're going to make some magic happen over there. Fingers crossed. Comic gods are going to shine upon us when we get that happen. What is this? Cover prices are high for Future State, but the backups are cool. The cover prices, I don't know. I would say you're getting like a lot of content. Like, I don't read backup issues or backup stories. I really don't. But they're not like they're thin books, right? It's a lot of art that goes into that. And I'll be honest, I don't even know how much they cost. I'll be honest. I don't know. I call my stuff in and I pick it up and I pay with PayPal from the car. So I honestly don't even know how much the individual books are. I don't pay attention to it. But there's a lot of content. I mean, they're all like oversized, so there's a little bit of volume there. There's a little bit of substance there. Let me scroll down to some of the comments here. L. Smith is asking a question about the Spawn 314, similar to Venom 3. He's asking, I have not seen that, so I will not comment on that. Before Kate, I was never impressed with any of the self-titled Venom series. Venom was always better in ASM. Matt Woods, I would have to agree with that. And I've said that before, like, I was never interested in Venom. I'm gonna be completely honest. I thought he was a one-dimensional character the whole time. He was carnage, right? I mean, he was just evil, right? I never really got into the character. Donny Cates came in and fleshed him out and made him three-dimensional. He made him relevant. He made him interesting. He made him an empathetic character where you're like empathizing and rooting for Eddie Brock because of what's happening with his son and his life as a whole. He made that character, man. And so, again, I think that Donny is potentially going to walk away from the book, but I don't think that the character is going to go away. I certainly don't think he's walking away from Marvel. I think that he still has a lot of things that he can do with Noel. And, when he's on ASM, he can bring, Noel over there if Noel's not dead, killed by the Silver Surfer Black. I mean, it's crazy out there. It's crazy out there right now. Scrolling through. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Cates is going to write ASM and Conan. No. You're dreaming. Get that crusty out. No. No Conan. Scrolling through. There's a question here. Let us hear your question, good sir, but only if you drop one of those G's from that Regie that you just put up there. It's 1G. It's 1G. But again, there are some things that we are going to get to here momentarily that we are going to jump into, and we will see how things are going to flow. Give me 1 second here. Scrolling through my messages. Okay. So I may have to run to a commercial real quick here. But let's see if that question came through. I'm still waiting for, yeah, man, go ahead and drop your question in there, brother. Go ahead and drop your question in there so we can address it. So scrolling through, give me one sec here, guys. I am trying to manipulate something in the background. So give me one hot second. I want to throw up a commercial here to give me a second to work on something. Okay, so please bear with me here. So it is a good thing that I had that commercial there, because those commercials honestly do come in handy when I need to make some transitions or some adjustments. So thank you guys. Shout out to everybody like Chris Baker, folks that picked up the Comics to Go box. I absolutely appreciate the support that you guys have provided me and shown me with that project. It was a really, really cool project, and it's not over. So if you are interested in picking up a Comics to Go, I definitely want to encourage you guys to head over to ReggieCollects.com and check that out. So with that said, I want to go ahead and jump into our first topic, and then we're going to introduce our guest once I introduce this concept to you. And the concept is this, is that Patrick Stewart, my man who has played the wonderfully the role of Charles Xavier, recently had a conversation with Kevin Feige, and he has decided that he no longer wants to play Charles Xavier. And my heart wept. My heart wept just a little bit yesterday when I read this. He says, I met with Kevin Feige a couple of months ago, and we had long conversations. And there have been moves and suggestions which include Charles Xavier. Here's the problem. If we had not made Logan, then yes, I would probably be ready to get into that chair one more time and be Charles Xavier. But Logan changed that. And in one of the articles I read, basically what he was saying was that when they made Logan and Charles Xavier died in Logan, he was in the theater sitting next to the actor that played Logan. And they both literally started to cry, and they kind of were crying because of the emotional outpouring that was being displayed on the screen, but also because they were in many ways saying goodbye to those characters. And essentially both of those men had decided, in that moment or whatever, that they were no longer going to come back and play those characters. And roughly both of them played those characters for a pretty long period of time in different movies. And I'll be honest with you, Patrick Stewart is one of my favorite actors. Ever since he was in The Next Generation as Jean-Luc Picard, he was always my guy, and then to see him as Charles Xavier, he was the perfect Charles Xavier, played the role incredibly well. And I am honestly saddened to see that he is not going to reprise his role. I get it. And we've actually spoken about this before with people like Robert Downey Jr., who has basically said, look, I want to do some other things. I did this role for a long period of time. I want to do something else. I respect it. That doesn't mean that I like it. And so I want to actually introduce my next guest. And he is a guy that I've had an opportunity to interview before on one of the Go Collect blog posts. And it is none other than my man, Matt Tuck. It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome to Comics Today.
Hey, good morning. I don't know why I say good morning. I have no idea. But whatever time it may be, I am glad to be here, and first time on YouTube. So what's up?
You're welcome. Welcome, whatever day you think that it is, or whatever time. Welcome to you.
It's been a long week. I mean, Patrick Stewart's not coming back. I mean, my whole week's just been messed up now.
Well done. So I'm gonna ask you. I want to ask you, just off of the top.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that this conversation, the fact that the conversation took place, what do you think that this means, if anything, for the X-Men coming to the MCU? Is there something there that we should make out of the fact that this discussion took place?
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially when you look over at all the stuff going on with Spider-Man and all this talk. I mean, I think there's a lot that's still up in the air with Spider-Man, but obviously they're bringing in some of these older characters. I feel like the fact that he had conversations with Patrick Stewart, and I kind of wonder if Feige actually wanted that to get out right now, because he seems to have the X-Men so under wraps. So it makes me wonder if Patrick Stewart, maybe, gave away a little bit of what's going on, but it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, no doubt.
It definitely feels like that maybe they're looking at something similar to Spider-Man, because I can't see them using the same cast from the Fox movies. And Hugh Jackman has said that the only way he would come back would be if he could do Hulk versus Wolverine. And Patrick Stewart, which I kind of don't blame Patrick Stewart, as much as I love Patrick Stewart and he is such a wonderful actor. Yeah, I mean, how old is he now? So yeah. How many more action movies, even if he is in a wheelchair, is he going to be able to do? So I feel like probably the best thing is going to be, if they can't get Patrick Stewart and they just have to do these Fox characters, probably going to look at James McAvoy.
Okay, so let's break that down, man. So Sir Patrick Stewart, which is his proper name, Sir Patrick Stewart, he does not strike me as the kind of guy that just off the cuff decides to reveal that he had a conversation with a person like Kevin Feige, right? So your notion that this was purposeful, right? That this was purposefully disclosed, I buy into that. We've heard on one of the Go Collect blogs where they were talking about somebody that was actually on one of the movies spoke about the fact that the director purposefully would shoot scenes to create misdirection and had no intent to use those scenes, but did it to create misdirection in the public and to get people talking. So it would not surprise me if Sir Patrick Stewart was a little bit of a plant for Feige.
I could see it. I mean, I think it was Ben Affleck not too long ago called Feige one of the all-time great producers. And exactly what you're saying, I mean, that could be a big part of it, that he plans so far ahead that, you could be exactly right. This could be a plant, and this could be a little misdirection to make us think, okay, oh, look, they're going to do, another Days of Future Past kind of story. So it gives us a lot to talk about and a lot to speculate on. But kind of what we found with the Marvel Universe is that until Kevin Feige says so, we don't really know much. But I find that the fun in it, though, is you get to guess.
Yes. And I mean, I think that, Robert Downey Jr. said that he basically was like, when Kevin Feige tells you what to do, then you do that thing, that it is that thing. Right. And until Kevin says it, then it's not a thing, So right. It's interesting. Do you think, and I mean, I want to ask this question just a little bit more directly. The fact that we are hearing about this right now, do you think that means that we may see the X-Men in the MCU sooner rather than later? That's kind of where I'm trying to go. Like, what's your thought about that?
That's a good one. It's so hard to say because Feige has, even recently kind of put it off and said, we're working on it. Yeah, it's coming, totally coming. And then just kind of leaves it at that. But this could definitely mean that it may not be, a couple of phases down the road. It may just, I doubt we're going to see it in this phase, but maybe the next phase. Yep. I'm looking for some Easter eggs, and I kind of wonder if we're going to get those in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and in WandaVision.
Okay, that would be interesting. I mean, well, Falcon and Winter Soldier might be tough, and I only say that because when I've done the research, they basically said that was shot as a movie, right, and then divided into episodes. And I thought that had already been filmed, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that. But I think that to your larger point, we really don't know what they're going to plan or do, and I think that they are going to have a lot of fun, which makes it really fun for us to speculate and to have conversations like this, because we could all be wrong and none of us will care, because in the end, we're going to get probably a really, really good movie and introduction to these characters, and we're going to love it. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters.
All right, let me ask you something.
Go for it.
So with all the action comedies that Marvel does, and they love the silly off the wall kind of characters, do you think that X-Men will be an action comedy? And if so, is that really appropriate for the X-Men?
I don't think that they will do that. No. I think that in my head, I feel like there's going to be a transition from like the action comedy to possibly a little bit of the horror story, which is going to then open up the door for some more serious things, because the X-Men are serious. They are fun loving, if you will, but they are a serious group of people that don't have that back and forth banter. It's more of a dry wit. You know what I'm saying? With Wolverine picking on Cyclops. So I almost see this transition from the bright and shiny to the dark to somewhere in between. Even though that's not a continuum, I see it as a continuum towards that. But that's me making stuff up, Now, do you agree with that or completely disagree? And remind you, this is my show, so you be nice to me.
No, I'm completely with you. I'm a little bit nervous. I love my X-Men, and I take my X-Men like way too seriously. But the thing is that I look at, and I think that I've mentioned it in the blog before, is that these are characters that the whole story is originally based on Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and two different philosophies. You can't take that too lighthearted, and especially in today's climate and today's environment, you have to take that seriously. And they may find 100 different ways to use that and to try and make it different from what we've seen. But I think at its core and at its heart, the X-Men story really is, it's about persecution, it's about discrimination, and it's about overcoming that and defending people that may absolutely hate you. And I feel like they can't ignore that.
Which means that it cannot be bright and shiny. It cannot be bright and shiny, right?
No, absolutely not.
In my head, I think it would be tough to go from bright and shiny where we are now to that. I feel like there has to be a transition, and that's why I feel like we might see more with Blade, some horror stuff. And I don't want to say too much because I have some videos coming out that have already been recorded that I don't want to jack myself up with, but I think that there could be a transition. A few moments ago, you made mention that you think that it was the right thing for Patrick Stewart to turn the role down. Can you give me a little bit more on why you feel that way?
It's mainly because I'm kind of leaning toward a younger Professor X. And personally, to take that a step further, I really don't mind just leaving the entire X-Men Fox universe with Fox and not bringing that in, and to have a separate universe that is MCU X-Men. My favorite casting rumor is still Taron Egerton as Wolverine, that I think that he could pull that off. So I would still, in general, go younger.
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't know who these people are. Can you tell me who these actors are? You mentioned two. You mentioned one for Charles, and you mentioned one for Wolverine. What have these people been in? Because I don't know names.
All right, James McAvoy, he was Professor X in Days of Future Past and First Class. Oh, and he was also and he was also in what is it? Was it Glass? the Bruce Willis, Samuel Jackson
Oh,
movie.
he was
He
the
was that
beast.
guy. He
He
was the
was the
beast.
beast.
Right.
Woo! That was the second movie was good. The first and the second, I like both, but I just saw the second movie recently and enjoyed it.
I still haven't seen it. I'm still way behind on Unbreakable.
Treat yourself. Treat
I
yourself,
will.
brother. It's good. All right, but
At
keep
the-
going. You were about to tell me who the Wolverine guy was.
All right, and you will enjoy the movies. Go out and watch Kingsman. And the original, the first one, I absolutely loved, and it is, straight up. If you like the Marvel action comedies, you'll enjoy that one because there's so much that's just over the top with it. But Taron Egerton is the protagonist. I believe his name is Eggsy. Okay. So he was in that, but where he really got famous lately, he played Elton John in Rocket Man. And he was actually, I believe he was nominated for an Oscar, but I don't believe he won that. But
there's a comment here. Edgerton was Robin Hood as well, says Juggernaut.
We're going to forget that happened. We're just going to pretend like the Robin Hood movie never happened, because I have heard that movie is so bad that you want to watch it just to see how bad it is. And yeah, I agree. Kingsman is dope. It's an awesome, awesome movie.
Some folks in this room, man, are very knowledgeable about movies. Like, I watch the movies, but just celebrities, the names just don't stick with me. But one of the questions that I was going to ask you was whether it was a good move for Patrick Stewart to turn the role down, and where you might want to see us go. Because to some degree, if you were to introduce him, in my head, that would mean we would get an older X-Men team. If he's not coming back, then that opens the door for a younger X-Men team. Maybe not like brand new student X-Men, but maybe just a younger, less experienced team. So there's a lot of freedom there, I think, for them to be able to tell some really wonderful stories. And I may have to check Kingsman out. I've seen it, the advertisements and commercials, but I never actually watched it. So I do need to check that one out. So
it's a lot of fun.
One of my other questions for you was going to be who you wanted to see play Charles Xavier. But as you think about this, because you are someone like my good buddy Lee Atkins that is serious about the X-Men, is there a story arc that comes to mind that you would want to see them do in the MCU? Is there one that you would want to see, or is it just like, give me the X-Men, however I get the X-Men, and that's good with me?
I've got two, and you and I talked about this before. We're both huge Claremont fans. So you got to go to Claremont. I would say that the Mutant Massacre and Fall of the Mutants might not be too bad, but I really kind of hope they go with Inferno, and they have and add in Mr. Sinister. But outside of that, you cannot get better than Ed Brubaker writing. It is fantastic, and it almost feels like blasphemy mentioning anyone but Claremont in an X-Men conversation. But if you could find a way to adapt it for the MCU, and I don't really see how they could, but I feel like Messiah Complex. Messiah Complex is an awesome story. That is a very powerful story. So that one, I feel like just Ed Brubaker is just like, he is on top of his game 24/7. And that was a masterpiece.
You're going to make me go back and read all this old stuff again, just because, and I had speculated when I saw the New Mutants movie. If you watch that movie, there are a lot of fingers being pointed to Mr. Sinister. And I've actually speculated that Mr. Sinister was coming because we've seen Apocalypse, we've seen Magneto. Like, we need to see another villain, right? The X-Men have a lot of villains. Let us see some other people. And Mr. Sinister is a really awesome villain to introduce. And so if you watch the New Mutants, there's all of the Essex House, finger pointing to that. And so that could be one way that, while you don't pull over some of the actors, you could at least give a nod to some of that Fox stuff. And with that said, there are those younger actors that were in the New Mutants movie, which was not that bad, that you could potentially pull over as well. They're younger, they're vibrant, and they're interesting. And so I would be for that as well. I really would be.
Hey, let me ask you,
Please.
Out of all the X-Men that have not been featured on a movie or even gifted, even a show, who's at the top of your list that you'd like to see included?
Bishop. I like Bishop. I also
but he's been in a movie.
Has he been in a movie?
Yeah, Bishop was in the feature cast. And he didn't really do much, so it almost doesn't count.
Yeah, and that's probably why he's forgettable. Was Forge in there?
I don't think so.
Because I am a Forge fan from like way back, and I'm actually about to talk about Forge here in a minute, but I do like some Forge. And then, Gambit is always another favorite.
Please, God, not Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum in a Cajun accent. I don't know. I don't think I can take it seriously.
Yeah, I think that movie's dead. The Bishop movie. I think
the rumors though just won't stop. That's why I read that not long ago. I'll tell you.
When I talked to Chris, he gave me the indication that movie was dead. But
please.
No, what were you about to say? I cut you off there.
Oh, that's fun. I would love to see Multiple Man. That Jamie Madrox, if I'm saying his name right, he would be an awesome story. There's not a lot of really good Multiple Man stories, but there are some. And when they start getting into that idea that his dupes that he puts out, that when he brings them back in and he inherits like their memories and their experiences, that he also gets the bad. And there's one story in particular where one is dying and he doesn't want to absorb him because he's going to feel his own death. And that is just a really interesting story that I would love to see play out, on a movie screen. It almost seems a little too serious for the MCU at the moment, but maybe not.
Yes and no, because isn't Jamie a little bit, or Multiple Man, isn't he a little bit of a comedic character? Like I feel like he's on the humorous side and less serious. That's why when you're telling me the story, I'm like, that doesn't really sound like him. But I don't know.
Go back and it's an X Factor. I can't remember exactly the volume off the top of my head, but I'll send you a link. I did a blog on him probably last year, and he does well. Thank you, but there's not a lot. There's actually a Madrox miniseries that came out. It's probably been 10 years or more. And it was actually pretty interesting. It's kind of had a detective feel to it, and it had the comedic relief. But that's where the idea of him absorbing one of his dupes who is dying, that's where that comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's I highly recommend it. A lot of people overlook it, but it's a great story.
It definitely got past me. But I will tell you, brother, this is why I enjoy reading your blog posts on Go Collect, because I read them and they're well written and I always learn something from them. And then when I get a chance to like interview you, I also learn things. I've taken a couple of notes over here. So I am very thankful for the time spent. But as we get ready to wrap up, brother, I want to give you a chance to let people know where they can actually find you. Whatever information you want to give out, now is the time to speak to the people.
Well, I'm not ready to hand out my home address quite yet, but you can find me on Facebook, the Comic Blog, and like I said, I have the blogs going, and you can keep up with everything I'm doing. I've got some new projects going on too, and thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate it, and I value your opinion, so much. And I want to tell you that you've done such a wonderful job with the podcast on Go Collect. I love your video series that you do. Even when you don't talk about my stuff, I still like them.
Well, that definitely is a compliment, but I do enjoy your content, and that is not me blowing smoke. That is the honest truth. I do enjoy it.
Well,
So
thank you.
keep up,
Thank you
keep up
very
all the good
much.
work. And I'm glad you were able to come on, and we're probably going to have to get you back on the podcast at some point real soon too. But Matt Tuck,
Absolutely.
it has been a pleasure, sir. Be well.
Thank you. Good to see you, Reggie.
You as well. I love that guy. I really do. I enjoy my opportunities to chat with him. And we've had several, so I'm very thankful that he was able to make time to actually join me. So one of the things that I want to do, there's one other topic that I want to get to, but before I get to that, I actually want to give you guys, and you may have seen me with this right at the beginning of the show, I want to give you guys an opportunity to win this book right here from my friends over at Go Collect. This is Batman 404. It is a 9.8 with white pages. And this is where the year one story actually begins. So if you've been waiting for the Go Collect video all week, here it is. This is the video in which you can actually win this book. And the requirements for this thing are that you basically be a subscriber of the channel. You have to be a resident of the United States, a resident of Canada, or have a mailing address in the US. That basically means that you can be outside of Canada or the US, and all you have to do is to give me a mailing address inside the US to a relative or a friend or a buddy or an acquaintance or a comic soldier that can receive your book and then forward it to you under some other means, right? And if you, basically what I'm going to do in a hot second is I'm going to give you a phrase. Once you have that phrase, you head over to the community tab. You find the post where I'm talking about this Batman book 404. You click the link in that post. You go to MailChimp. You plug in 3 pieces of information. 2 of them are relevant to you, like your name and stuff like that. And then one of them is the phrase. You plug that in. Then you tune in to the Ready, Set, Go preview show, which airs on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time to find out if you are the winner. And you will have 1 week from the time that your name is called to actually claim your prize. And I will tell you, last week's prize has already been claimed. It is already out the door. But this week's phrase, let me throw it up on screen for everybody so that you guys can actually see it. The Go Collect phrase is 21K in 2021. Now you might say, why 21K? It is because that is the goal. The channel goal for subscribers for 2021 is 21,000 subscribers. So I definitely want to acknowledge that goal so that you guys can keep me honest and hopefully help me to continue working towards that goal. But that is the phrase for this week. You plug that in. 21K in 2021. That is the phrase. Plug it in and then you tune in, like I said, to the Ready, Set, Go preview show to find out if you are the winner. All right. So we spent some time talking with my man Matt Tuck about Patrick Stewart and the X-Men. And the last thing that I wanted to do is to let you guys know that you have to vote. It is time to vote. In X-Men issue number 16, there was an ad. There was an ad in there that basically advertised the fact that a new X-Men team is actually forming to represent, if you will, the island of Krakoa, to defend, not necessarily to defend the island of Krakoa, but to defend mutants. The same way that there has always been an X-Men team, a new team is going to be formed. There will be folks that, yes, will defend Krakoa, but these are people that are coming together, a team that is going to, I guess, be a strike force or something like that under the leadership, I think, of Cyclops. But I want to show you guys this thing real quick. How do I want to do this? Let's do it this way. Let me make sure that I can share the right screen with you guys. Make sure I have a lot of screens open. I think that this is the one. So this is, let me make sure you can see that. You can indeed. So on marvel.com/characters/X-Men movie, and I think it's actually a shorter URL than that, you can actually vote for the last team member for the new X-Men squad. And your choices are right there on screen right now. So you have Banshee, Polaris, Forge, Boom Boom, Tempo, Cannonball, Sunspot, Strong Guy, Marrow, and also Armor. So you have an opportunity to vote for the last member of the team. The voting opened today. It opened earlier today. I was actually checking this out around 10:30 last night. It had not yet opened up, but it is now open, and it closes February 2nd. And to the point that I was just making, I'm going to go ahead and cast another vote for my man Forge, because I love some Forge. So stay tuned to see which mutant will join the X-Men in this year's Hellfire Gala. And they encouraged me to share the image, which is not something that I'm actually going to do. But let me see. I want to actually share this other article with you guys. Let me see if I can do that real quick, because there is an article that is actually on Newsarama, and I think that this one is it. Brand new superhero X-Men team. Marvel is basically giving people an opportunity to join, or to vote for people to join the team that is coming together under Jonathan Hickman. I just gave you the date. It's open today and will continue until February 2nd. And then it gives you a little bit of a profile of each one of the characters. And this is actually on newsarama.com. So if you guys head over there, you can actually read these little profiles of all of the individual characters, like Polaris, who is a character that I actually dig. Boom Boom, back from the 90s. Forge, who is my man. I love some Forge from back in the day. So this is a nice little profile that you guys can check out, and then go ahead and cast your vote for one of those people. So let me go back to the chat, because I have not been in the chat in a little while. So I want to see what is the link. Let me see if I can get this link for you guys. Because let me see what it is. The link is, and I'll try to put it in the comments section for you guys. Well, here, let me do it this way, because this article actually shows it a lot easier. And I think you guys can see that. Let me go back here. So it is marvel.com/X-Men vote. Let me make sure you can see that. You can indeed. So the URL to vote is marvel.com/X-Men vote. That is the URL. You can go ahead and plug that into your browser, and then go ahead and vote. So let me scroll through. Kevin says, I voted for Banshee because I don't really know the rest. Well done, brother. Well done. I'm sure he appreciated that. Polaris is super dope. Yes, indeed. Let me get rid of this, because I think my chat just froze. Indeed, it did. Let me see if I can get it back. There we go. Let me scroll through. Who is that? Somebody else just voted for Banshee. The two old ones, Banshee and Polaris, had their time. Vote for the younger generation. That's what's up. What is this? They should let us vote for a member of the MCU X-Men team too. Here's the thing. You never know. You never know how casting your vote what impact that could have. You never know. You never know. Tempo has never been on an X-Men team. Help her make the big league. Well done. We see people passing the ballots for Tempo, trying to get her on the squad. What is this? Haven't seen a random in an X-Men book in a long time. Plus her first appearance. Well done on that one. Team Forge, I see you, brother. I see you, Alan. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Just voted for Polaris. I'll be honest, man. Polaris is not a bad pick, man. My X-Men 50 at a high grade is looking pretty good. So go for it. What is this? People casted a vote. Well, I was about to say that. Last time, maybe the last time, someone was beaten with a crowbar. So we don't know what could happen here. We don't know. Brandon says, I picked Marrow. So I'm gonna be completely honest. That is the one person I don't know anything about. I'm like bone marrow, like bone broth. I honestly did not know anything about that character. So I may have to check that one out. Jag, it has been a pleasure. Thank you, brother, for hanging out a little bit. Almighty Liger King's like, what? Who? Tempo? Isn't that Cannonball's girlfriend or wife? Didn't they have a relationship when in the new Mutants, when they were off in space in the Shi'ar Empire? I think Tempo's part of the I can't remember what that team is that is on the Shi'ar. I can't remember. I'm certain one of you guys will remember that, but I thought that she was on that squad. So there we go. If the Gibbon if the Gibbon was on there, everybody knows how that would go. Let me scroll through. What is this? I think Marrow was from Gen X. Oh, there we go. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I really don't know who that character is. I know, is it Armor from like that squad? I want to say, but I do not know Marrow. What about Maggot? Well done. Well, I need to do some research because I really don't know. Let me go. Yeah. Well done. Well done. We all know about those plane walkers. Well done. All right. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit for this show. I enjoyed having Matt Tuck on here to spend some time talking with me about the X-Men. And I'll be honest with you, I am a bit saddened by the fact that Patrick Stewart isn't going to be Charles Xavier, but I respect it. I respect the decision. I don't necessarily like it, but I am excited about the fact that there are at least conversations that are happening about the X-Men, because that puts us further along the course, hopefully, of being able to see the wonderful X-Men come to the MCU at some point. And for me, I'll be completely honest, I don't care how it happens. I don't care how it happens. Let's just make it happen, and let's just make it fantastic. That is my big thing. And definitely want to encourage you guys to stay tuned for some of the videos that are going to be coming out from the channel. I still am releasing one more video this week. It's going to be an obscure video. I'm going to be digging in my shorts again for some obscure comics. And as I mentioned, I released a Punisher bonus video earlier today. So if you guys have not watched that video, I definitely want to encourage you guys to check that out. And then otherwise, I'm guessing that I will probably see you guys on the Ready, Set, Go preview show on Sunday night. That is if I don't get frisky at some point between now and then and decide to go live. But as always, if you guys need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. If you need anything, I am not too hard to find. Take care.